Okay. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We would like to welcome everyone who is logged on so far to our regular midweek program, Wednesday midweek program. We will be continuing our series this week on the 12 Mahajans, and this week we'll be doing part 7. We'll be covering the personality of Prahlada Maharaja. We have our very special guest speaker today, His Grace Jaykumar Prabhu. So yes, before we hand it over to Jaykumar Prabhu, I'll just do a brief introduction and then we can begin the class. So His Grace Jaykumar Prabhu is an aspiring disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, and he has many Shiksha Gurus, mainly His Grace Jagannath Priya Prabhu and His Grace Sarvabhauma Prabhu in India, and also His Grace Adigadada Prabhu and His Grace Amarendra Prabhu here in America. Prabhu also considers his entire Bhakti Vriksha to be his Shiksha Gurus, as they teach him a lot. Very humble Prabhu. And Prabhu is a computer engineer. He is a Six Sigma black belt and a cloud certified professional. Prabhu has done a Bhagavatam teacher's training course at Veda Varsity and is currently pursuing a Bhakti Shastri course. Previously, Prabhu served in ISKCON Tain congregation by actively participating in weekly Bhakti Vrikshas, Janmashtami festivals, Ram Katha, and different management roles, and also in coordination with festival celebrations. Present preaching, Prabhu serves a Bhakti Vriksha here in Atlanta, in Alpharetta, coming area. He does a daily chanting with the group in Brahma Murta, and does daily Srimad Bhagavatam reading for 30 minutes, has a weekly Bhagavad Gita discussion every Friday, and once a month on Sundays has a Nectar of Instruction class for the Tain congregation in India. Prabhu is also an avid book distributor and distributes over 500 Bhagavad Gitas to villages in India every year. Currently, Prabhu lives in Alpharetta and is married to Jayashree Mataji for the last 25 years and has a daughter by the name of Malika. So we are very happy and we are very grateful to have His Grace Jaykumar Prabhu join us today. We are looking forward to hear from Prabhu. Prabhu is a very wonderful speaker and very sweet sounding speaker, and very pleasing to hear from Prabhu. And as I mentioned, he does so much preaching. This will be Prabhu's first time speaking on this platform. So without any further ado, we'd like to welcome His Grace Jaykumar Prabhu. Prabhu, if you are ready, please begin. I know, Prabhu, before you begin, I know you said you'd like to start with doing Jai Radha Madhava and then go into the class. So please, Prabhu, feel free. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Naveen Prabhu. Thank you very much, ISKCON Atlanta. So we'll begin with Jai Radha Madhav for a few minutes and then we'll get started. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana 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 Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So first of all, I would like to thank this community for giving me this opportunity to speak something, some Harikatha. I'm personally do not have any realization of my own, nor I am a learned scholar like many exalted devotees who are present on this platform today. However, just like a parrot repeats the words of his master, I'll be repeating the words of our Acharya and whatever I have read from the scriptures. And by doing so, I may make some mistakes. So please forgive me for my mistakes. My pronunciation of Sanskrit shloka may not be accurate. Just please take the essence from what I speak and forgive my mistakes. So with that humble thing, I would like to offer prayers to all the assembled Vaishnavas and begin our discussion. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukam karoti vachalam Bangum langayate girim Yatripatam aham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Narayanam namaskrityam Naram chaiva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Tato jayam udirayet Shrutam swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hriday anti stito hai abatrani Vidu noti shuta satam नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमाश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति न इष्टति वासुदेव परा वेदा वासुदेव परामखः वासुदेव परा योगा वासुदेव परक्रियः वासुदेव परं ज्ञानं वासुदेव परं तपः वासुदेव परो धर्मो वासुदेव परा गतिः कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगो कुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्घ्रये जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण. So I will begin by sharing some slides which I have made for our discussion. As I mentioned, I do not have my own realization, so I have made, I ended up doing many slides and also made a lot of notes, because that's, I have made all these notes for my own things, about 20-25 pages I kept on writing whatever I was reading and I thought I can share. So again, once again, I welcome all the devotees who are assembled here today, and I request all of you to please bless me so that right words come at the right time, which are pleasing and also nourishing to all of us. Hare Krishna. So again, I would like to pray my gratitude to ISKCON Atlanta, all the devotees who inspire me in ISKCON Atlanta, His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj, Jagannath Priya Prabhu, Sarabhama Prabhu, Adipadara Prabhu, Amarendra Prabhu, my family, friends, my extended family of devotees, and my Bhakti Vriksha especially, because they challenge me with their questions and they inspire me to read more and more. So my humble gratitude to all these devotees. Hare Krishna. So by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON Atlanta, we have been doing this 12 Mahajans series for the last couple of weeks. Right? We have seen six Mahajans have already been covered, and today we'll be speaking about another Mahajan. So as Yudhishthira Maharaj says, this sloka comes in Mahabharata Vanaparva. Parva. He says, Dharmasya Tattvam Nihitam Guhayam. Meaning he says that this Dharma, to understand the Bhagavad Dharma, is very, very confidential, very secret. Not everybody can understand. This is a discussion between Yaksha and Yudhishthira Maharaj, where he responds to this question. And then he says that it is difficult. It is very, very confidential. Yet, he says, Mahajano yena gata sapantha. Means if we follow the footsteps of Mahajans, then we can achieve this. We can understand this secret, this confidential knowledge. This is, the understanding that we can get. And that is why we are try to understand the lives and the teachings of all the Mahajans that are listed. Right? Because Shastra confirms all the Shastra confirms that by following the footstep of Mahajan, a great devotee, a great Vaishnava, we can make advancement. It is as simple as, like if you want to become a millionaire, for example, in material world, who do we go and ask this information from? Not somebody who is a, say, homeless person, right? We go and ask somebody who has made $1 million. So similarly, in this, our life also, when we want to progress on the path of spirituality, who should speak to? Listen to Bhagavad, follow their footstep. That's what it is. And this is, again, this 12 Mahajan comes from where Yamaraj tells all his disciples, all his servants. He says, Swayambhu Narada Shambho Kumar Kapilo Manu Prahlado Janako Bhishmo Bali Vayas Sakir Vayam. He says these are the 12 Mahajans. When the Yamdut goes and says, hey, what happened? We couldn't bring Ajamil back. And then Yamaraj tells this shloka. So he talks about these 12 Mahajans. So this is the basis of our 12 Mahajan series that has been started by ISKCON Atlanta. So today we are going to learn about Prahlada Maharaja. So far very exalted devotion on Lord Brahma, Narad Muni, Lord Shiva, the four Kumar or Chatus Kumar, Lord Kapir, and Swayambhu Manu. All these devotees are very respectable devotees. I respect all of them. I listen to their classes and I know them personally. So it's such an amazing speaker. Today, I do not know how it's going to be. I may be an exception in this list of devotees, but I will make my efforts to speak about this. So today, we are going to deep dive into teachings of Prahlada Maharaj. Because, last few weeks, we have been listening to all this various Mahajan stories and learning from that. So today we'll talk about Prahlada Maharaj. So in Prahlada Maharaj, is appeared as a devotee, as a child devotee. He was not an elder person like Narad Muni or other devotees. But he is, that's why he's called Mahajan as well as Balajan. He's a small devotee, just a 5 years old, right? And, either all the Mahajans that we have heard so far, either they are demigods or they have Ansha avatar of the Bhagavan in their services. But Prahlad Maharaj is an exception. He is born in a dynasty of Asura. Asura means they have no connection with the Lord. They are always, trying to fight with the Lord, in a competition with the Lord. They always want to do that. But here Prahlad Maharaj, a 5-year-old boy, what he's doing? He's doing bhajan. Very, very, very nice bhajan, which we all can learn from his life. So today we'll try to learn from this life. Now Prahlad Maharaj, he became a great devotee, right? Now this story comes from Brahma Narsingha Puran. In this the story comes of Prahlad Maharaj. Who is Prahlad Maharaj? So Prahlad Maharaj once asked the Narsingh Dev that how did I become your devotee? How come I become your devotee? I'm in the Asura dynasty. Then the story goes like this, that in the previous birth, Prahlad Maharaj was born in a Brahman family, and because of his, and all the his brothers were doing nice Brahmanical activity and all that, but because Prahlad Maharaj had an association with a prostitute, so he was not doing any of that, right? And he was engaged in passing time with this prostitute. So one day between this prostitute and Prahlad Maharaj, there was a quarrel, there was a fight that happens every time, right? Between husband and wife, between friends, between devotees sometimes, it happens. So here, it happened between these two people. And then, in that quarrel, both of them did not eat or drink. They fasted on that day, whole day. Now luckily, coincidentally, that day was Narsingha Chaturdasi. So now, as we know, even if we do a bhakti unknowingly, without any faith, it has got its results. So because of that, they fasted on the Narsingha Chaturdasi day. The prostitute became an Apsara and went to higher planetary systems and serving the Lord. And Prahlad Maharaj was given birth in the Asur family because the Lord wanted to show to the world, show to others, saying that in the Asur family also you could do a nice bhajan. So he wanted to make him a great devotee, and Prahlad Maharaj was born in Hiranyakashipu's dynasty. So this is the story of Prahlad Maharaj's previous life. This also comes in Hari Bhakti Vilas, where these points are mentioned. So this is, Prahlad Maharaj, as he said. So now Prahlad Maharaj is not a new story. I think everybody knows about it. I'm sure many of you have read it many times, right? So what is that new thing which I'm going to tell? I'm not going to say anything new, dear devotees. But as he says, in Bhagavatam, there's a shlok which comes in. It says, Vayam tu na vitrupyam uttama shloka vikrame yash shrunvata rasagnanam swadu pade pade. Shaunakadi Rusi and all that, they say that we don't get tired by listening to Hari Katha, the pastime of great devotees and the Lord. Why? Because by reading, by listening to this again and again and again, what happens? Our faith in the bhakti increases. Our progress in the path of spiritual bhakti goes on and on and on. So this is very important, that why we should hear Hari Katha. It's not, oh, I've read it, that's fine. It's like chanting, oh, I finished my 16th round, so I can relax now. No, we should chant more. If we have finished and we are still energetic, we should read more. We should listen. Same class can be listened many times, and we will hear again and again. Like that day I was attending one, Bhagavad Gita class, and Govind Shyam Prabhu was there. He is very elder to me, and he was in Bhagavad Gita class, so he gave his introduction. He says that every time I read Bhagavad Gita, he says I've attended Bhagavad Gita course many times. But every time I come here, I read Bhagavad Gita, I learn something new. Something new meaning comes out of that. So that was very, enlightening at the time, saying, yeah, we should read and we should listen to same thing again and again. Maybe something new will come out. So that's why we should keep reading. And that what helps, what happens because of that? The 9 stages of bhakti that we see, right? From Shraddha to Prema, that will keep on increasing as we keep listening to this. It has such a profound impact on our spiritual journey. And therefore, it is recommended that we should read Shastra again and again and again. We should not get tired. We should not get tired. We should not get satisfied with saying, oh, this much association is fine, this much reading is good. No, we should always be dissatisfied in our spiritual activities, saying that, oh, I didn't do it, I should have done this. Oh, I only did one Tulsi Aarti in the morning, I should have done one more in the evening too. Like that, this is how we can make advancement. This is very important if we want to really go. Because if you look at material world versus spiritual world, what is the difference? In material world it says, padam padam yat vipadam. Every step there is a danger, right? And as Prahlada Maharaja says, punas punas chaiva charvananam, meaning you keep chewing the same thing again and again, taking birth again and again, going through all those miseries again and again. That is material life. But spiritual life is swatu swatu pade pade. Every step there is a bliss. So therefore, we should always be engaging in the bhakti. This is very important, very essential. We should never get tired. So that's why we are reading and we are listening to Prahlada Maharaja's story again and again. In fact, this is such a profound thing. Prabhupada wrote this, book. He has written specially just for Prahlada Maharaj. Apart from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, he wrote this special book. So everybody should read this. Apart from reading from Bhagavatam Canto 7, this is a book that Prabhupada wrote for all of us. And Prabhupada keeps telling, I was seeing one of his videos, he says, I'm writing so much, but you're not reading. What's the point? So we should read Prabhupada's book. So once, what happened? Once Prahlada Maharaj was invited by his father, Hiranyakashipu, because he was put in Gurukul. His father invited Hiranyakashipu very affectionately. He put him on his lap. Hey, Prahlad, come here, my child. Oh, you have been going to Gurukul. What have you learned so far? Very affectionately he asked, because 5-year-old child, is going to be his successor. So he was very happy to see the child. And he asked, what have you been learning? And then Prahlada Maharaja responds very, very beautifully. And this is very important for all of us, the devotees. He says, Tassadu manye suravarya dehinam sada samudvik nadiyam sadgrahat hitvatmapatam gruhamandakupam vanam gatoyat dharimashrayet. He says, he calls his father with a lot of respect. You can see what is the Prabhupada translates. He says, oh, best of the asuras. He is not saying my father. He is saying best of the asuras. King of the demons. He gives him those adjectives. And he says, as far as whatever I have learned from my spiritual master, and we will see who is his spiritual master in a moment, right? That any person who has accepted this temporary body, right, and the temporary household life, is always in anxiety. Always in anxiety. He says samudra vigna, means some anxiety is always there. Why? It is like, Prabhupada gives an example, he says that it's like a person who has fallen into a well, a dark well. There is no water and he is searching for water to drink. It is like that. What is there? There is only suffering. There is no water that we can get. So he says we should give up these temporary positions. And what we should do? We should go to Vanam Gata, go to forest. Now here, sometimes you think, oh, I have a household, I have a family. How can I go to Vanam Gata? I mean, do I need to go? So the Shastra again comes back to our rescue. That Vanam Gata doesn't mean we all have to go to forest. It means that we have to give up that concept that this is mine, this is going to give me pleasure. That concept should be given up, right? We can continue our household duty, but with that we serve Krishna, we serve devotees, and that's how we make progress. So that is still detached, because Prabhupada explains, in Bhagavad Gita, I think in chapter 18, he says that he puts the devotee, a householder, on the same platform as a sannyasi. If that grahastha, householder, is living a renounced life, meaning he's not attached to anything that he is doing, to the world, the fruits of the world, and he's always serving Krishna and the devotees. So that is very, very elevated position. So same thing Prahlada Maharaja is saying, you have to give it up. And even if you go to one, what you should do that? We should do what? Take the shelter of the Supreme Personality of God, not doing anything else. Vanam Gada, and basically Prabhupada says we should go to Vrindavan. So we know there are 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. The last topic of Bhagavatam says Ashraya, being surrendered to Krishna. All the 9 topics that we see in the beginning, they all are for what? They all are for making sure that we go to the step number 10, which is Ashraya, taking shelter of Krishna. All this topic should lead to that. Then we have understood the Bhagavatam in the real sense. Not we should get stuck somewhere and not reach to the last destination. So that is the purpose of these all 9 topics, to take shelter of Krishna. So now in this, when Prahlada Maharaj tells this, Hiranyakashipu is not happy. He's saying, oh, he's talking about all those things, but he's supposed to be my son. He's to run this kingdom. What is he talking about? So he's very displeased with his master. So he calls Shanda and Amarka, because they are the son of Sukracharya. So Shanda and Amarka has been called and says, what have you been teaching this child? He's speaking all this nonsense. I don't think you are doing a good job. So they comes back and says, Ashurraj, we will take him back and we will teach him. Don't worry about it. He said, we will do the needful. Please don't worry. So he's taken back to Gurukul. He's being taken back. And now the Shanda and Amarka ask, oh, we have not been teaching you all these things. From where have you been learning all these things? Why are you speaking all these things? Then Prahlada Maharaj says very nice thing. He says that you are telling me that he is my friend, he is my enemy, and we have to exploit people. That is not right thing. I don't think that is good. So he says that the actual thing is that only Krishna is my well-wisher, nobody else. That means I don't see anybody as my friend nor as an enemy. I just see them as, okay, they all are Krishna's part and parcel. Right? Everybody is part and parcel of Krishna. So I should not see anybody as an enemy or somebody as a friend. No, Krishna is my only well-wisher. And another thing that we can connect this to is that we can go to Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna tells this. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Swapake Cha Pandita Samadarshina. So all this, we see everybody equally, regardless of their caste, creed, color, religion, where they live, which country, what's the social status, nothing should matter. When we see them and we interact with them, right, we have to be very clear. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also tells in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Jivere Swarupa Haya Krishna Nityadas. What is our position? Das of Krishna, servant of Krishna. That is what it is. That is our eternal position. But the moment we think that, oh, I am enjoyer, this is mine, then the problem begins. So that's why we have to make sure that we should see everybody as equal. This is very, very important learning that we can take. So now when this happens, Shanda and Amarka are really not happy. They start beating up and saying, "What are you doing?" And after further few weeks pass, saying that, okay, it's a child, maybe sometime the child will behave, and then when the parents scold him, he'll become all right, comes back to senses, like that. So they thought he'll come back to normal, and we'll see. So again, after a few days, few weeks passed, he was again taken back uh, to Hiranyakashipu. His mother Kayadu prepares him very nicely, dressed him up very nicely, and is presented to Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu again asks. So he asks very nice question. He says, in the translation, Prabhupada writes, what do you think is the best of the knowledge? What is the best of the knowledge that you think, what you have learned? Right. So here, we have to understand that best thing for human being, what is it? Sometimes we may think this is good for me, but is it right for me? So good may not be right for us. For example, if somebody is say diabetic and like gulab jamun, rasgulla, sweet, everybody loves it, right? So a diabetic person eats it. Now that may be he think it's good for me. Why? Because it tastes good. But from a health side, doctor say no, that's not good for you. So that's why we should make sure that we should be able to discriminate between what is good for me and what is actually good for me. What I think is good for me and what is actually good for me. That discrimination ability we all must have, because this is such an important thing, right? An obese person, if keep eating pizzas and burger, is not going to grow thin. He is going to grow more obese. So similarly, if we know that what will lead me to the right bhakti and progress in the path of bhakti, then we should do that only and not doing anything else. So that's a question that she is asked, Hiranyakashipu. And now Prahlada Maharaja replies, very beautiful shloka. I'm sure all of you know this, but we can see here. He says, Prahlada says, what are you saying? Shravanam kirtanam Vishno smaranam pada sevanam archanam vandanam dasyam sakhyam atma nivedanam. He said these are the 9 steps we should do. And he said iti, he says and. He says Pumsarpita Vishno Bhaktis Chainava Lakshana Kriyeta Bhagavata Yadda Tanmanye Dhyam Uttamam. So he says, any intelligent persons who knows what to do, then he will do this 9 process of bhakti. So we all know this 9 process of bhakti, right? Shravana means listening to Harikatha, listening to discourses. Kirtanam, speaking about Harikatha, chanting, thinking bhajan, kirtan. Like in Atlanta Temple, every Sunday, 6 p.m., there is a kirtan. There's a very nice kirtan goes on with the youths. So we should do that, right? If you are not able to join in person, join over the Facebook or Zoom, and then we can participate remotely. Then all these 9 limbs are for what? For our own purification. All these processes are for our own purification. That's why we should engage all our senses into these processes. And as we see, all these processes are actually meant to engage all our senses only. Because our eyes want to eat something nice, our ears want to speak something, our hands want to do some activities. Everything has to do some activities, right? So then if we do not engage that into this process, which Prahlada Maharaj is recommending, then they will get engaged somewhere else, right? If you are not hearing Harikatha, we are listening something which is not helpful. If you are not chanting, or we are not speaking Harikatha, we are speaking something else. So we should be very careful. And our Shastra also gives the Acharya for each of them. For example, Shravanam is Parikshit Maharaj, who sat on the banks of river Ganga without eating, drinking, sleeping, nothing. 7 days he was just listening Harikatha. Just listening Harikatha. That's why he's Acharya for Shravanam. Sukdev Goswami is Acharya for Kirtanam. He spoke Bhagavatam continuously because he had that kind of student, right? So he was speaking Harikatha without any interruption. Similarly, we should also do Kirtan very nicely. Vishnu Smaranam, remembering Bhagavan at all the time, is Prahlada Maharaj himself, about whom we are speaking today. He was always remembering Krishna in every moment of his life, be it with the students, be it in the class, when he was getting punished, always remembering Vishnu. No deviation at all. Padasinam, of course, Lakshmiji, who serves Vishnu very lovingly. Archanam, Prithu Maharaj, we can learn from his pastimes. Then Vandanam, Akrurji offered very nice prayers to Krishna. Akrur, though he was associated with Kamsa, he was actually minister of Kamsa, but his heart was with Krishna. So regardless of where we are, we can worship, we can remember Krishna. This is very important. And then Dasyam, Hanumanji. We see this in Ramayana, that Hanumanji serves Lord Ram without any expectation. That's Dasyam. And then Sakyam, none other than Arjun, right? And then Atmanivedanam, Bali Maharaj. So when we learn from these acharyas of the Navvidha Bhakti, the 9 process of Bhakti, then the purification is confirmed. We can get purification. There is no doubt about it. There is no question on that. Okay, so now after a few weeks have passed, all this had happened, they thought, okay, Prahlada Maharaj would have improved, so they brings him back. And then when this dialogue happens, then obviously Prahlada Maharaj has to answer father's question, what is the best thing that one can do? So now Prahlada Maharaj responds to this question. What he says? Very beautiful shlok. Nate vidu swarta gatihim hi Vishnu durashayaye bahir artha manina andhayathand andir upayamana tepis tantrayam urudam nibaddha. He's saying, this very, very good explanation is given here. Prahlada Maharaj says, the person who is strongly entrapped, in the consciousness of enjoying material life, and therefore they have also accepted gurus similar to that. How are they? They are like a blind person led by another blind man. When a blind man leads another blind, what happens? What happens? This is what happens. A blind man is led by another blind man. So when the first person falls in the ditch, next will follow automatically. There is no question. This is the position of this. And that's why, what are you saying? What we should do? We should do bhakti. Because by doing this, what is happening? By giving opportunity to enjoy senses, we get more and more entangled into this world. And we come back again and again. We do the work, but what kind of work? It is fruitive work. All the result we want to enjoy. And we make such a strong connection with this material world that we come back to this life again and again and suffer in these threefold miseries. Adi Bhautik, Adi Devik and Adhyatmik. All 3 miseries come and haunt us. But still, we keep on enjoying. Like there is a story of a person who fell in the well in a night, and he holds onto a rope. Now, in the well there are snakes, so he cannot fall down because he has to hold on to rope. Now the rope is being cut by the rat, the rat. But on top of there is a honeycomb. And sometimes a drop of honey falls from that. And this person licking, it will fall. And he finds pleasure in that. What kind of pleasure is this? He is not thinking of escaping from that. How can I get out of this well? But he is saying, okay, I'm holding, but I'm getting some honey and enjoy. Now, that is foolish thinking. This is exactly what Prahlada Maharaja is saying. That if we just keep enjoying this world and we follow the same person who wants to enjoy, who encourages us, who guides us how to enjoy senses, then it is like, the blind man pushing another blind man. And so this is something that we should understand. But now, another shlok, Prahlada Maharaja says, but Daddy, don't worry. The father, he says, Father, don't worry about this. I have a solution for this also. He gives a solution. He tells this is a problem, but he tells the solution also. So what is the solution? He tells in shlok number 32. He says that unless a devotee or a person smears upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. So in translation he says, is completely freed from material contamination. Persons very much inclined toward materialistic life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, who is glorified for his uncommon activities only by becoming Krishna conscious and taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord. In this way, one can be freed from material contamination. So now is such a important understanding, dear devotees. By telling the smearing the dust of the lotus feet of the Vaishnava, meaning what? Taking their instructions. Whatever his teaching is there, that we should take it and implement in our life. Like Prabhupada. If we want to smear the dust of his lotus feet, Prabhupada is already in the spiritual world. So where do we get the dust? Yes, we have the dust of his lotus feet. How? Through his books. Right? When we read his books, that means we are associating with Prabhupada. We are associating with Prabhupada. And that way, we are able to, serve him. And it's like Prabhupada is sitting next to me when I'm reading his books. I'm reading his instruction. When I think that Prabhupada is actually telling me, do this. So he says, unless Jaykumar, you don't smear upon the bodies of the dust of the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas, you will not be freed. Then I have to think, it's telling me, Prabhupada is telling me, not anybody else. Not telling not they. I have to put my name and read it like that. Then it will have an impact. Similarly, this point also comes in 5th canto, where King Rahuguna is instructed by Jhad Bharat. He says, Vina Mahatpad Rajo Bikesham. Means what? He says, all this material thing that you are doing about, your position. Let's read the translation. He says, unless one has the opportunity to smear his entire body with the dust of the lotus feet of a great devotee, one cannot realize the absolute truth. And he further tells, we cannot realize by simply observing celibacy or following the rules of Grihastha Ashram, going to Vanaprastha, Sannyas. No. All this will not help. But what will help? By following the footsteps of Vaishnavas. Therefore, dear devotees, this ISKCON Atlanta has organized this 12 Mahajans series to help us and smear the dust of these Mahajans so that we can take the teachings and implement those in our lives. So we should all be very grateful to Prabhupada who wrote this wonderful scriptures, translated them so that we can read and implement those instructions in our lives. So this is very, very important understanding, dear devotees, that how we should do. And similarly, if you're in the Bhagavatam, in Kunti Maharani also has a prayer, right? Where what she says, Shruvanti Gayanti Grunayanti Bhikshana Smarananti Nandanti Te Vihitam Jana Tayeva Pashyant Chirena Tavakam Bhava Pravaho Paramam Padambujam. So she says, Shravananti Gayanti. We should keep listening and speaking. Same thing, Shravanam Kirtanam. She's saying same thing. Unless we do that, We will not be free from the repeated birth and death. Not possible, dear devotees. This is not going to happen. We have to again come back. If you are thinking to enjoy this world, we have to come back. We don't know where we will be born. We don't know which country we will be, which family. Will we be able to do bhakti? We don't know. I remember once, Jayapataka Maharaja was here in Atlanta, and this story was told by Adigar Prabhu, because he was in that room, and one Mataji asked Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, Maharaj, I'm not able to chant, I have difficulties. And she was explaining her problems. Maharaj told very amazing response. Maharaj told, Mataji, we have to chant very sincerely. We have to do this bhakti very seriously. We have got such a wonderful platform of Krishna consciousness. We should not let it go. Because we don't know how many lives it may take for us to go back to Godhead. He says that this, Prabhupada has estimated this ISKCON will continue to serve for another 10,000 years. But after that, we don't know. Today we are able to do nice bhakti. But after that, we don't know. By just for chanting, we might get killed. Right? By wearing tilak, somebody will slap us or put us in jail. This can happen. So why waste the time that we have got now in not doing bhakti? Don't waste your time. Therefore, dear devotees, we have to be fixed in our sadhana. Our morning japa should have complete. The Tulsi Arati, deity worship at home, the fasting during Ekadasi, Janmashtami, Ramanavami, all this must be followed. This is very, very important instructions. So many people, Prahlada Maharaja is telling, Jada Bharat is telling, Kunti Maharani is telling. Who else we want to tell us and wake us up? Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago. Mahaprabhu told, wake up, sleeping souls. Wake up. We all have to wake up. This is a wake-up call for all of us. By hearing this, Hiranyakashipu was really angry. He says, what are you talking? What nonsense is this? And he tells his, and this is a very important, he makes a very, very important statement, which is absolutely applicable for all of us. We read the translation. He says, just as the uncontrolled senses are the enemies of yogis engaged in advancing in spiritual life. See, here Hiranyakashipu shows that he has a knowledge, but he is not applying it. Then what's the point of that knowledge? He doesn't have that, Similarly, if we know that I have to do japa, I have to do fasting, I have to do this puja, I have to read. Now we all know this. But if we don't do, then what's the point? We'll also become like an asur. So it's like they say it, right? That if a literate person do not read a book, there is no difference between him and an illiterate person. Because illiterate person is not reading because he cannot read, but a literate person is not reading because he knows to read, but he is not reading. Both are same. So similarly, if we are a devotee, we know these processes, we have to do this. But if we don't do it, we are as good as non-devotees. Hare Krishna. This is very important for all of us. So here, Hiranyakashipu got angry, and he says, now I have to kill him because he's not doing anything. So he asks his servants, take him and kill him. So many different activities were done, and he has been tried to kill in many ways. Right? He is thrown from the mountain, he is put under the elephant's feet, put in the snakes, put it in the fire, he was given the poison, all these things were done. But nothing happened. Nothing happens to him. In fact, he was at very peace, very, very peace. So, what happens here? He says, we can see the translation. This had no effect on Prahlada Maharaj. All this torture, today with little miseries in our life and we get disturbed. But Prahlada Maharaj, no effect at all. Why? Because he was always busy meditating on the Krishna, always remembering Krishna, always, regardless of where he is. A devotee is a person who is always happy in all circumstances. Either he is in hell or heaven or is in bhuloka, he is happy. So we should all be very happy. Why? Because if you remember about Krishna, then all this will go away. Our focus is on all this other activity. That's why we feel miserable. Our focus should be on Krishna. So then all this misery goes away. Now many times it may happen, oh, if I have to do all this bhakti only, then how do I do? Prabhupada gives that very beautiful response in the purport, in the sloka 53, where he says, if we are interested in spiritual life, we should follow the teachings of Prahlada Maharaj, rejecting all the education, the normal education that we get, right? Dharma, artha, kama. This should be given up. And we should be interested in spiritual education. The Krishna conscious movement Prabhupada created is just for this, so that we can follow the footsteps of Prahlada Maharaj. Now, if you say, oh, Prahlada Maharaj is telling to give up everything. I'm a grihastha, I have a family. What do? I have to run, I have to do a job. Nobody tells to give up the job. Prabhupada gives a very beautiful response to this kind of anxiety in purport. He says, Hare Krishna. So, Prabhupada gives very beautiful response here. In Prabhupada, if you read, he says spiritual well-being is automatically followed by material well-being. So that means if you are doing our spiritual bhakti very nicely, Lord knows that He is doing nice bhakti. He will make sure our needs are fulfilled, not the wants. Our needs are fulfilled. In Bhagavad Gita, it says, Gatir Bharta Prabhu Shakshi. Lord is seeing everything. If He is giving to Asura, why not to devotee? Why not to a devotee? Why will He not fulfill the devotee's need? Oh, my devotee needs it. There are so many examples where devotees' needs are fulfilled. I have a family in my Bhakti Vriksha where they were expecting a child a few months ago. And there were so many complications. Mataji got, the liver infection and her blood reports were incorrect, inaccurate. And they thought, oh my God, this is going to be a complex delivery. And they told, doctor said, oh, this might be a C-section delivery. And they were doing nice chanting, all this bhakti going on very nicely. And everybody thought, including doctor, the family member, oh, this is going to be a complex delivery. And one day, Mataji got a labor pain, she was admitted. And suddenly, everything, all the reports become normal. The child heartbeat were going low, it became normal automatically. The nurse was amazed that how this can happen. In a few hours, the entire scene got changed. So Lord sees that these are very sincere devotees. I have to help them. And Mataji had a very beautiful Vaishnavi given birth, a normal delivery. How this happened? Gatir Vrata Prabhu Sakshi. The Lord will take care. But we should have that faith in Krishna. We should have faith in Krishna. So this is very, very important. So after this, Since Prahlad Maharaj had no effect, again the Shanda Namarga came in, okay, we'll take him back to Gurukul, we'll tie him up when the Shukracharya comes, he will do something. But right now, we'll take it back. He's still young, so don't worry. We'll do some brainwashing. So they take him back. Now, Prahlad Maharaj is teaching again, during the free time, lunch time, and after class, he's taking his Bhakti Vriksha there. He's teaching all the Asud sons, students, saying, okay, this is Bhakti, this is what we should do. So this teaches us one very nice thing. See, all these Asuras, and all the students are from Asur dynasty, means they have no connection with the Vishnu or Lord. They don't know. They are Vimukh. They are against the Lord, right? They know Lord, but they think he is little powerful, maybe he has got more strength, those kind of things. But not that we have to surrender. No, they don't understand this. But still, Prahlad Maharaj was able to teach them because he had affection, he had a pure heart to uplift them. If you see the example of Prahlad Maharaj, many times similarly, in our life, when we go and do a preaching, we find it so difficult because we think, oh my God, people are so attracted towards this material activities. How do I go and preach? How do I distribute my books? We find it difficult. Sometimes we feel disheartened, disappointed, dejected, and we think, I don't want to do this. Isn't it? It happens many times. It happened with me. But if you see from Prabhupada's life, Prabhupada went alone in America. He came to America alone. Nobody. When you see this picture, alone, a 70-year-old man in an unknown place with no companion, no relatives, no friends, no money, he still created this great empire, institute where we all can do nice bhakti. How? He was first of all pure-hearted. He had one intention. I have to take these people back to Krishna. That's the only intention, no other expectation. So we should make sure that we learn from these lives and keep our, spreading of Krishna consciousness is very, very important. So here, Prahlad Maharaj kept on teaching, and he is teaching all his, students, all the friends that he has got, and he speaks very, very beautiful words, which is very important for all the parents, especially, and all to-be parents. Okay, because here Prahlad Maharaj gives instruction that when we should start our bhakti, the process of bhakti, when we should start learning about bhakti. Because many times say, oh, when I'm retired, I will read Bhagavad Gita. Oh, when I have time, I will chant. No, here is the answer to that. When we should start bhakti. He says, Kaumara achareta pragyo dharman bhagavatan iha durlabham manusham janma tat api adhruvam arthadam. Very, very important few words that let's focus on those words. Durlabham manusham janma means what? The human birth is very rare, very rare. Then he says, adhruvam. Once you got the birth, then what? Okay, you got this body, but what you do with this? Adhruvam. Oh, it can be taken away any moment just like this. Adhruvam. And then, but it is arthadam. It is very useful if you use it in a right way. So, Prahlad Maharaj is telling this to children. Kaumarya. 0 to 5 years is Balya Avastha, 5 to 10 Kaumarya, then Paugan, then Yauvan, like that. So he says from Kaumarya, start very early stage. So this is what we should do. We should start bhakti sooner than later. We have many devotees I see, who are teaching the children from 0 age. When they are in the mother's womb, they are attending Bhakti Vriksha, doing Kirtan. So they are listening to all those things, very nice things happening. So this is how it should be. From very young, very tender age, we should make sure they get the Bhagavad Dharma understanding. So this is very, very important, because our body is very rarely achieved. So sometimes we think, okay, he's talking about Dharma. So what is real Dharma? What is real Dharma means, right? So real Dharma means Krishna says, Paritranaya sadhuna vinasaya cha duskritam dharma samstapana thaya sambhavani yuge yuge. I will come to establish dharma. Then again he says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. So now somebody we can confuse. Bhagavan is coming to establish dharma and mamekam sharanam vraja. So what is actually I should do? He's saying forget everything and surrender to me. Means he's saying sarva dharman parityajya means leave all the dharma. Rashtra dharma, oh this is my country, this is my family, this all this dharma is fine. You must do what is required for your life, but not get attached to that. Just come and surrender unto me. Because Prabhupada mentioned, if you want peace in this world, let everybody chant, and there will be peace, no problem. But that's very challenging to happen. Kali Yuga is progressing very fast. So he kept on teaching all these things, Prahlada Maharaj, to all his friends. Because human life is very, very rare. He says, Bade bhaga manusya tan payo. Means he got with a lot of people. Nobody says, Bade bhaga hathi tan payo, gutta tan payo. Nobody says it. Right? So it is temporary. It is very, very important. Beautiful use of this. So, Prahlada Maharaj is educating all his friends about bhakti. This is what he is teaching about bhakti. Now, what is the minimum benefit of the bhakti? So, Krishna Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Swa alpam api asya dharmasya trayate. Means at least you will not fall down to the lower spaces. This will happen. This is the minimum benefit because everything we do, today's world we think, what is in for me? Oh, I'm doing this. What will I get? What's the benefit? If you go and tell anybody, that's the question anybody asks because this is a material world. So this is very rare. One will be saved from going into the lower species of life by doing bhakti. This is the minimum benefit. Right? So therefore, at least with this, we should do bhakti. And then all these friends were amazed that how he's speaking such great knowledge. So he says, oh Prahlad, we have seen you here in Gurukul, we have seen you not interacting with anybody. How did you learn this, all these things? I know you were in your palace and there nobody come and teach you. So how did you get this knowledge? And Prahlada Maharaj tells the story that when my father once went into a forest, Mandarachal mountain, and he did a great tapasya. At the time my mother, Kayadu, I was in the mother's womb, and Lord Indra seeing that, oh, now Hiranyakashipu is gone, let's go and kill his child in the womb itself, because if he is Asur, his dynasty will be Asur itself. So he comes with the thinking that I want to kill him. And he comes, and he's there taking Kayadu like this. Immediately Narad Muni appears there and tells, stop this. Kayadu is carrying a Mahabhagvat in her womb. So do not do that. As soon as Narad Muni told, immediately Indra surrendered. He says, okay, we will not do it. He circumambulated Kayadu, he obeised to Narad Muni and went back. So here what we can learn from this? That when some senior Vaishnava, our Guru Maharaj, gives some instruction, we should follow that. No question should be rise in our mind. Right? That will help us in making progress. This is very important lesson that we can learn from Indra's behavior towards Narad Muni. And now, Prahlada Maharaj is in the womb, Narad Muni is every day doing Bhagavad, Katha, Kayadu is listening, and that's how Prahlada Maharaj got the knowledge. But here, the Prahlada Maharaj kept his knowledge, but Kayadu did not keep or remember all these things. What happened there? It happened that Kayadu forgets his knowledge, whatever Narad Muni told. Right? So this means that the teacher is same. Teacher is Narad Muni. But now Kayadu is forgetting, Prahlada Maharaj is remembering. Same thing with all of us dear devotees. There is a nice class going on by Maharaj. We all are listening. Some devotees' lives are getting transformed. Some are still there. Why? Because we are not listening with faith. We are distracted. We are doing multiple things at the same time. And then we ask question, why there is no spiritual progress? So this is what we can learn from this, that we always have to be, very, very careful in performing our bhakti. So now, all these things happens. Then Shand and Amarka gets very frustrated, saying this Prahlad Maharaj is spoiling all the children. They are also not studying. They are doing bhakti. So he goes back to Hiranyakashipu and says, please take him back, because we cannot keep him. He is spoiling all our other students. So now Prahlad Maharaj gets really, angry. And he asks, because they took him back and Hiranyakashipu is very angry. So now they say, Hiranyakashipu is asking, oh, where are you getting all these things? What are you doing? So Prahlad Maharaj tells him that the source of strength and the knowledge is same as what you are getting. If you are getting your knowledge, you get all this, all this strength from Brahmaji. His strength also comes from Bhagavan only. He is telling him. So now this is really bewildered the Hiranyakashipu. He gets really angry. Really angry. And then he asks questions. Oh, so where is Bhagavan? Where is Bhagavan? Is it here? He takes the sword and starts showing that, is it here in this pillar, this pillar? And Prahlad says, yes, he is here in this pillar, he is there. So now he hits the pillar with the sword and what happens? Narsimha appears. Narsimha Bhagavan ki jai. So Narsimha appeared from the pillar. And then very beautiful shloka is written here. He says, Satyam vidato nijabrutya bhashitam vyaptim cha bhutesh vyaptim ta bhuteshu akhileshu chatmana adrishyata yad bhutarupam udvahan stambe sabhaya namruga namanusham. He says, now here the question comes, Satyam vidatu na nija bhrutya bhashitam. He says, why did Lord appear? Why did Lord appear? That's a question, right? So he says, Lord appeared because of vidatu nija bhrutya bhashitam. He appeared. He wanted to do this. What all he wanted to do? So you can see, Prahlad Maharaj told, he is in Stamba. So he appeared. Because Prahlad Maharaj told, to keep the word of his devotee, Lord appeared from Stamba. Now how did Prahlad Maharaj know that he is in this? Prahlad Maharaj knew when he was in his mother's womb. Narad Muni told him. What did he told? Vyaptim cha bhuteshva akhileshu chatmana. That Lord is everywhere. He told him. So he kept the word of Narad Muni also. Because Narad Muni says, I told him, Lord is everywhere. So he kept his word. And third, Brahmaji. He came as what? Na murgam na manusham. Because Hiranyakashipu got a boon from Brahmaji. Nobody can kill me. So he had to appear in a form which is not promised by Brahmaji, which is not created by Brahmaji. So he has kept his Brahmaji's word also. And last is Chatuskumar. All the four Kumaras. They told when they cursed Jai Vijay that you will be born as a demons. But Lord will come and bring you back. They will kill you and he will bring you back. So same thing. So this is what is Satyam Vidatu Nija Bhrutya Bhashitam. That Lord appears to keep the word of his devotees. This is such a wonderful thing. So we should all be feeling that, when we say something, it may turn out to be true. The Lord will make it true if you are a true devotee. So this is what happens. And when Lord comes as such an amazing, ferocious shape, and he was very angry. He kills Hiranyakashipu. And he did not kill Hiranyakashipu like sending Sudarshan Chakra and once at a time. He did not kill him that way. He really killed him. He actually tore apart. The first open heart surgery without anesthesia happened like this. And the soul was delivered. That is the thing. So he was killed with this pain. He was given so much pain. Why? Because Hiranyakashipu gave pain to Prahlada Maharaj. But as we can see in the picture, Prahlada Maharaj was very saumya, very peaceful with garland in his hand. Again, another thing we can learn that when Hiranyakashipu was killed by Narsingdev, the Kayatu went and embraced the body of Hiranyakashipu. Means he still did not know what was taught by Prahlad Maharaj. And Prahlad Maharaj went and garlanded uh, Narsingdev. So that's the difference between the learning that we get. Learning was same, given to both, but who implemented? Prahlad Maharaj. Now Prahlad Maharaj did not fear by looking at this ferocious, you know, uh, picture of appearance of Narsingdev. Why? It's explained that in an ocean, in an ocean is very huge. If you go and see in the night and all that, by hearing the waves sound and all that, very, we might get afraid. But the fish who has taken the shelter of the ocean, they have no problem. They are swimming very peacefully. Similarly, if you have taken the shelter of the Bhagavan, nothing will happen to us. We'll be at peace regardless of what is happening around us. That's why we should take shelter of Bhagavan. And then in Chaitanya Charitamrita also very beautiful shloka is mentioned. This shloka comes posed by Sridhar Swami. When he commented on this chapter, on the 7th canto of Bhagavatam. There he says, Ugrapi Anugra Evayam Swa Bhaktam Nira Keshari. Keshari va Swa Potanam Anyesham Ugra Vikramaha. Meaning what? Lion is very ferocious, but she is kind to their children, the cubs. She has no problem. Cubs are not afraid of lions, are they? Of course not. Right? Similarly, Lord Narasimha is very ferocious. The people like Hiranyakashipu will be trembling. But for Prahlad Maharaj, no problem. Oh, he's my Lord. He comes in this form, no problem. So, this is the learning that we can get from Prahlad Maharaj. I think we are a little over time. So, Prabhu, do we have some time, or we can end here, or I have some more things to talk, but please advise me.
Yes, Prabhu, if you want, we have a little time. You can continue. It's 8:11 now. We can go until about 8:20.
Okay, let me quickly keep a few points. I'll skip some of the topics because I think it will not take time. So let's quickly talk about, we created this Prahlada as an acronym. So P stands for purity. P stands for purity. Prahlad Maharaj had only one desire, to serve the Lord. Right? As it says, Anya Abhilashita Shunyam, Gnana Karmadi Anavritam, Anukulyena Krishnanu, Shilanam Bhaktir Uttamam. So that means that Prahlad Maharaj was not interested in anything material. He had so much, but he was not interested. Hiranyakashipu will move his eyebrows and things will change. He'll say, okay, let rain start. Rain will start. It's too hot. Yes, start. That was his power. But Prahlad Maharaj was not interested in any of this. So Lord bestows love unconditionally on all of us, if we are pure. Right? So if devotee is impure, if a person is impure, then they cannot access the love of God. So that's why purity is very important. Like sun is there for everybody. But if I close my eyes and say there is no sun, then what sun can do? Right? So it begins with buddhi. How do we get this with buddhi? Because in Bhagavad Gita, in 3rd chapter, Arjuna asked Bhagavan, he says, if someone do not want, still he commits the sinful activity, he gets engaged into lust activities. Why is it so? Why this happens? So Krishna tells him that he can only overcome the lust by controlling the mind through buddhi, through intelligence. So we have to use our intelligence to subdue the mind so that it doesn't go after lust. That is the connection. So similarly, to maintain our purity, we have to use our intelligence. Oh, somebody is calling me for a movie. No, I should do bhakti. My time is to do chanting. Oh, I can do something else. No, I have to chant. We have to use our intelligence. Under all circumstances, any circumstances, we have to remember the Lord. We have to give up the urges of mind by using intelligence. And Prahlada Swami Maharaj says, how do you overcome the temptation? Temptation is there with everybody. He says, not going in front of the temptation is the only solution. That means we have used buddhi, not to go in front of that. We cannot say, oh, I will go and then I will not be affected. No, that's a foolish thing. It's like a fire and say, oh, I won't be get affected. I can walk. No, you will get burned. So this is very important that we should maintain our purity. Next is R, respectful. Prahlada Maharaja was always respectful towards his father, Hiranyakashipu. He always called him Asura Raj, oh king of demons. Right? Always respected. Despite what behavior Hiranyakashipu did towards him. He tortured him, but he did not retaliate. He is respected all the time. So many times this happens with all of us. We have to be very respectful. Because if you do some classes, for example, if you go classes for something once in a while, then class is over, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, done, no problem. But when we are doing this in a Bhakti Vriksha in temple, everybody is seeing us. They are seeing our behavior, how we talk, how we behave. So you have to be very careful. You have to be respectful with everybody. We may not get along with other devotees. That's fine. It happens. But you have to be respectful. The thing is that, sometimes we see, Ekadashi, we are doing Nirjala Ekadashi. Somebody is eating. Oh, he doesn't have control over senses. So what is happening here? By body we are fasting, but our ego is feasting. So we have to be very careful with this. Let our ego not feast. This is important. This is a big impediment in the process of bhakti. Very, very big impediment. So others may have asuri tendency, may not be doing them, but we don't have to. We may not disagree with them, but we don't have to disrespect them. Right? We should maintain a respectful behavior. Equating people with their belief is not good. Okay? So we should reject the sin, as he says. Reject the sin, but not the sinner. If Prabhupada would have rejected all the sinners, then he would not have made this ISKCON movement at all. Because all the hippies were doing all the nonsensical activities which are not mentioned anything in the scripture. So that's what there are three things which you can learn, from the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We'll quickly talk about it. So Nimai Pandit, he humbles the Keshav Kashmiri. He was a great scholar, but he did not disrespect. Oh, you don't know. No, he says, oh, you are such a great scholar, you know so many things. But I think in this shloka you made this grammar mistake. Like that he will tell you. No, not disrespect. So we can disagree with others, but still maintain the respect. So that we keep an open dialogue. Next time we can still be friends, we can talk. Right? Other from his Prabhu's life is that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life is that, when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who talks about all Vedanta philosophy, 7 days he spoke, 7 days, and Mahaprabhu just listened. Okay. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is asking, am I speaking for 7 days? Have you understood anything? Are you able to get what I'm saying? He says, I know what you're saying, I know Vedanta, but I do not understand what you are saying. Then there's a discussion going on. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya becomes his devotee. If Mahaprabhu disrespected him, then he would not have become devotee. Another example that we get, Prakashanand Saraswati. Where Prakashanand Saraswati, Mahaprabhu took a very humble position, sat where the people are putting chappals, washing hands. And he gave a lot of respect to Prakashanand Saraswati. Then Prakashanand Saraswati with 80,000 of his followers became Mahaprabhu's disciple. Because Mahaprabhu told, I don't know, my Guru Maharaj told, you are like a fool, you don't know anything, you don't know Vedanta philosophy, you just chant Hare Krishna. Because you cannot do anything more than that. He was having always humble position. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also teaches us, the Anami Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadari, Amanina Manadena. Means even if we are disrespected, we have to give mana to others. We have to give respect to others. That is what we teach learn from these lives. So these are beautiful examples that we can learn, but it's up to us how we implement them in our life. Then third is affection. Prahlada Maharaja showed a lot of affection towards the classmates who were sons of Asuras. Just because of that, they were able to listen. When we have a new devotee coming in we should show affection. Not that, oh, you don't know this much. Oh, you don't know Bhagavad Gita. You don't know how many shlokas are in Bhagavad Gita. No. Affection should be there. Then they will come, associate, and they will progress. Right? So this is important. We have to maintain affectionate relationship with everybody. Everybody who we meet, who we speak. This is very important. And affection should not be because somebody's material position. Oh, if I attach to this one, I will get this benefit. No. Again, there is what is in for me. That should not come here. Right? So next is happiness. Prahlada Maharaja teaches happiness. So our question may arise: in this material world is called dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Where there is a padam, yet vipadam. So where is happiness? But if I get this material thing, I'll be happy. If I get this, I'll be happy. If I get this home, I'll be happy. I get this car, I'll be happy. No, but Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Sochati Na Karashati. Means what? Kankshati. Na Sochati Na Kankshati. Means if you get a high taste, I don't need anything. The one who situated in the Supreme Brahman or trying to understand Krishna consciousness, he is always joyful. There is no lamentation, there is no desire for anything else. So that's what Krishna tells. And then he says further in 2.59, he says, Param Drishtva Nivartante. Means by taking the higher taste, one stops going after a material thing. So Krishna consciousness is higher taste. So you should always be after Krishna consciousness, nothing else. Then learning, very, very important. Then we should start learning very early stage. Where did Prahlada Maharaja learn? In the mother's womb. Right? The spiritual knowledge should be taken anywhere, at any age, and anyone. Anyone can take it. Hippies become happy. Prahlada Maharaja learned in this womb. So there should not be any restriction. Right? But what happens? The child, as soon as comes out of the mother's womb with a lot of pressure, forgets. Asura also has knowledge, as we know, right? Hiranyakashipu had knowledge, but he did not implement. So that is not learning. Learning means we learn and implement that. That is learning. So that is real knowledge. And Prahlada Maharaj had that real knowledge. So he was very clear from the beginning, and he was able to impart that knowledge to his friends. Then comes A, his attraction. Prahlada Maharaj he was very attracted towards Bhagavan. It's like, the metal gets attracted toward the magnet. The mind, he says, mind gets attracted toward you, Bhagavan. So he says, Bhakta Para Ishanubhavo. So we get attracted towards Bhagavan, right? So with the knowledge and reading, with the knowledge we read, bhakti becomes wholehearted. If we read, if we discuss the discourses, life of the Mahabhagavad, our bhakti becomes wholehearted. That's why this reading, discussion about pastimes is very important. And when we do bhakti with a lot of faith, automatically we get attracted towards Bhagavan. If the metal is having junk, it's rusted, then it will not get attracted toward magnet. So it is important. So what we should do? Nasta prayeshu abhadreshu. Ya cheto darpan marjan. We have to clean it up. That cleaning process should continue through our life. We have to continue that to keep our, bhakti shining. This is very important. And last, determination. So Prahlada Maharaj was always determined. Despite so much trouble which his father gave, he was absorbed in bhakti. We see this shloka from Nectar of Instruction, third one. Utsaha nischaya dhairya. Nischay. Endeavoring with confidence. We have to do things with a lot of confidence. Oh, this will happen. This will happen. like Haridas Thakur, very determined. He was beaten up in 22 martial pace, did not give up Harinam. Prostitute was sent, did not give up Harinam. So we should, Prabhupada always says this, you should learn from these materialistic people. When we go and tell them, Prabhu, please take Bhagavad Gita, please read it, please chant, what they say? Oh, I don't have time, I'm busy doing this, I'm making money. Similarly, if somebody asks us, somebody, oh, can we go here, let's go for this tour, picnic. No, I'm busy. I have a Bhakti group, I have a reading, I have this discussion going on. We should become like that. But we say, okay, I will chant on the road, I'll go, let's go. No. Prabhupada says this. So similarly, Prahlada Maharaja got association of Narad Muni. So he says that association of devotee is very important. When he prays to Narsingdev, he says, please give me benediction so that I get association of devotees. This is very important, dear devotees, in progress of bhakti. And he also asked the benediction that give me desire, if you want to give me a boon, give me such boon that all my desires vanquish. I should not have any desire for anything. This is determination. And we should think that avashya rakshibe Krishna. Krishna will protect me. Krishna will protect me. Right? There are 6 steps of surrender, which is mentioned by it comes by Sanatana Goswami in Hari Bhakti Vilas, yes. So we should desire for advancing in the Krishna consciousness. We should reject what is not favorable to us. We should have faith in God that He will always protect me. This is very important. Maintaining gratitude attitude that Krishna, thank you for bringing me in this Sangha. And seeing everything as is all created by God, it will be taken by God. Nothing is mine, temporary, no attachment and no pride. Then we can surrender to Krishna. So with this, I would like to stop here, and whatever errors I know presented in this my commentary which I did today, may all of you correct it. You are all learned people, learned souls, learned devotees. Whatever is good found here is all because of the Guru, Acharyas, and not from me. I just put things together. As a corporate world, we put things together and show it to our customers. I just try to do that. That's only my ability. But I'm very thankful to ISKCON Atlanta for giving me this opportunity to speak a few words, to speak a few things about Hari Katha. And if there are any mistakes, please forgive me. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Thank you so
Krishna.
much. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for the amazing class. It was really, really filled with so much insight. It was presented so beautifully, Prabhu. Your presentation and the details in your presentation were immaculate. So thank you so much for being with us. Just a few takeaways from my side. I really like the anagram that you did. Prahlada Maharaj is name and all the attributes that towards his name. Very, very sweet and something I think our also during the present time. Um, also the narrations today on Prahlada Maharaj's life.
So I'm not going to hear you very clear. Is it just for me or for everybody else? Not sure.
Uh,
Now I can hear you. Yeah, now it is clear.
can you hear me now, Prabhu?
Yeah, now it is better.
Okay, sorry about that, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu, I was just saying your narrations as well were very beautiful. So thank you so much. And your presentation was first class. I really, really enjoyed it. And also towards the end, where you connected the attributes of Prahlad Maharaj to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in terms of respect and how Mahaprabhu dealt with other devotees in a respectful way. That was also a wonderful takeaway, Prabhu. I know we have His Grace Adikarara Prabhu who is online. I believe Prabhu would also like to say a few words. So, Adikarara Prabhu, if you are ready, you may please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, dear Jaykumar Prabhu, for this very comprehensive and excellent presentation, presented with so much humility. And Very well researched, and the trajectory, the flow of the class was so nice, Prabhu. Excellent glorification of Prahlad Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhu. I thoroughly enjoyed your entire presentation. Hare Krishna. Jai
Thank you.
Srila Prabhu.
Jai Shri. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Hare Prabhu. So before we move on, I just would like to see, is there anyone who has any questions or reflections, realizations? If anyone would like to say something now, you may raise your hand and we can give you opportunity to speak. Okay, Prabhu, I see some questions in the online, so I'll go ahead and just ask these questions that are online. They have been sent anonymously. So one of the questions, it is said that Prahlad Maharaj so effectively preached even to children. How can we effectively and magnanimously preach and bring others of all ages and classes to the processes of bhakti?
Hare Krishna. It's a very, very wonderful question. You know, so one thing that we should do first of all is that before we even begin preaching, and this is my understanding, because before we begin preaching to anybody, we should make sure that we understand the subject matter very nicely. And depending on what age, I think this question is with younger children, is that we can take guidance from the devotees who are already preaching to the young devotees. There are many Matajis, I know them. There are many devotees who are doing young children, especially because that teaching is very little different than what you do to adults. So we can connect with them, take learning, and implement those things. Because I think Prabhupada always tells, if you see the Prabhupada's humility, if you see him giving nice, chocolates and biscuits to young children, very affectionately he treats them. So that when we deal with the children in such a nice way, and when we take the learning that other devotee has implemented, and if we implement in with a small group of children, it will be successful. I know there is one Mataji who does Bhagavatam for children, and I attended how she does it. It was such an amazing way she does it. She becomes so creative in narrating different stories and pastimes from Srimad Bhagavatam, and children very well connect to that. So I think we can search for those devotees who have done this in past very nicely, and just implement those in our place wherever we want to do. So that is my Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for that wonderful answer. It really, I think, answered that question very nicely. Just one more question we have, Prabhu. It's also sent in anonymously online. So it says, as we see that Prahlad is born in the family of Asuras, yet that had no effect on his level of devotion or position as a devotee of the Lord. Could this still apply if one is the only devotee in their family and let's say their spouses and children are not much interested in Krishna consciousness?
Absolutely, absolutely. This applies. Prahlad Maharaj was also alone. There was nobody. None of his family member were devotees. In fact, they were hateful towards Vishnu. They wanted to kill Vishnu. That was Hiranyakashipu's aim. But because Prahlad Maharaj did such a nice bhakti, when he prayed to Dev that please forgive my father, Dev says that 21 generations in the lineage will be delivered. I will not kill any of the future generation in your lineage. So he did not kill Manasur, we see, right, the son of Bali Maharaj. He did not kill him. Why? Because he had given this promise. So a devotee can deliver 21 generations. So we have to just do bhakti with a lot of faith that Krishna will protect. Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. And do it diligently. I see so many young children, they come and classes online, they ask questions and they say, Prabhu, there is nobody in my family who is chanting. No, they don't allow me to chant. They don't allow me to put tilak. So what do I do? Okay, chant on your fingers. Put tilak by putting in like water, Mukundat Prabhu from Vrindavan, who is the head pujari of the temple, he says, if you are not allowed, just put, use water, put a tilak, and that's it. So you are like, you put a tilak. Like that we have to do. This is the way we can do bhakti. Bhakti is not to be told openly, oh, I'm chanting. No, it is not required. It is between us and Krishna. So only Krishna should know what I'm doing. Why others should know? So chant when nobody is watching us. Chant when, read when nobody knows about it. Like that, we can do bhakti, and Krishna will protect us. Krishna will protect. Krishna will give way for us to progress on the bhakti. There will be impediments, there will be challenges, but slowly we can overcome that. So that will be my thought process. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. That was an amazing answer. Thank you so much. Prabhu, I just saw a message in the group. One of the devotees is requesting the presentation. If you could, is there a way that you could maybe share it with the devotees? Is there a
Yeah, we
link
can
for?
send. This is all Prabhupada's book. I have not done anything. I just gathered pictures, put myself together. We can create a PDF and put it across. So maybe
Okay.
we can reach out to ISKCON Atlanta Temple ID, and then I can give it to you, which you can distribute.
Okay, sounds good, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So the Mataji who asked in the group, once we receive that, we will post it accordingly on our social media. So thank you so much, Prabhu, for everything and for the wonderful class and for the wonderful question and answer session as well. You really touched on so many wonderful points regarding Prahlada Maharaja's wonderful personality today. Also, one of the takeaways were how you connected the 9 processes of bhakti to the 12 Mahajans and how each Mahajan portrayed one of those processes. So thank you so much, Prabhu. It was filled with so much nectar, and we really look forward to hearing from you very soon again. Thank you for your association and your time, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we will move along now, dear devotees, to the next part of the program. We just have a few announcements, and then we will go ahead and wrap up the program. So I will just draw up these slides. Okay, so coming up next week, we will continue with the 12 Mahajans. We'll be covering part 8 of the series, Maharaj Janaka, the father of Sita Devi. That will be on October 6th at 7 p.m. So we would like to encourage everyone to please join us for that session as well. And then also on Sunday, we have a wonderful Sunday program lined up this coming Sunday, covering the wonderful topic of Uddhav and Lord Krishna with our very special guest speaker, His Grace Shambhihari Prabhu, and that will be covered on the 3rd of October. And also, we'd like to encourage everyone to please join us for our weekly kirtans at 6 p.m. on Sundays at our temple at ISKCON Atlanta. It will be streamed online via the ISKCON Atlanta Facebook page and the Kirtan Atlanta page. If you can't make it in person, please try. The Kirtans have been going on now for a few months and have been very successful. We've been getting a lot of interaction from devotees, and we would like to encourage more and more devotees to please attend. So please try. Also, our upcoming festivals on the 2nd of October, we have Indira Ekadasi. On the 15th of October, we have Sri Madhva Acharya Appearance Day. And on the 16th of October, we have Panasukusa Ekadasi. On October 17th, we have Srila Raghunath Das Goswami Disappearance Day, Srila Raghunath Bhatta Goswami Disappearance Day, and Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Disappearance Day. So October 17th is a very special and auspicious day. And on October 21st is the beginning of the month of Kartik Damodar Mas. So we'd like to encourage all the devotees to please prepare accordingly for these wonderful upcoming festivals.
Actually, on October 3rd, which is this Sunday, the breakfast time is 7:33 to 11:28 a.m.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Can you just repeat the time again?
7:33 a.m. to 11:28 a.m. Breaking fast
so
on
much.
Dwadasi, 3rd October, which is a Sunday.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Dear devotees, I hope you all heard that, and please make note of that breakfast time. Also, please check us out on all our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube. This is our Linktree page where you'll be able to access all those platforms. Also, we would like to conclude the program by sending out prayers to His Holiness Jaypataka Swami, who is still facing some health elements, and also His Holiness Amla Bhakta Swami, who recently had some physical difficulties. Also, Her Grace Govanan Leela Mataji, and also Her Grace Uttam Radhika Mataji, who are both still facing some health problems. We would also like to send prayers out to the doctors who are helping fighting the COVID-19 pandemic, and also to everyone we haven't mentioned. So we will just go ahead and chant Hare Krishna 3 times in a prayerful mood for these devotees. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai. So yes, thank you so much, dear devotees, for joining us today. We appreciate your association, and we appreciate you continuing to be with us on these midweek programs. We encourage you to please join us on all our other programs as well. And we will now conclude the program and take leave. Thank you so much. Please take care. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.